Welcome. Is my audio working okay? There he is. Sorry for the delay, everybody. I tried to get this working on my laptop, but couldn't get it going, so I just used my phone. Apparently, you can't go live on Instagram through the web camera on the laptop. Didn't even know that. Awesome. All right, so looks like our special guest has arrived. It just requests to come on my live, and we could get you right in. Hey, welcome. Welcome. Glad you can make it.
Hi, yeah.
How you doing, Ryan?
Yeah, I'm doing well. How are you, Duran?
Good, good. It's great to see you.
Yeah, great to see you too.
So this is the first live with another person that I've ever done besides on YouTube. So this is a first for me for Instagram as far as doing a duet live.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you want to introduce yourself to my viewers.
Yeah, my name is Ryan, and I'm Limit Source Paranormal. And yep, this is my guest as well. It's their serious investigations.
All
Hi,
right, thank you.
everybody. Mhm.
And for anybody that's new, my name is Duran Conrad. I am the lead paranormal investigator and demonologist, ufologist, and I do study the occult as well for dead serious investigations. And I'd like to welcome everybody for joining us. And we got a lot to go over, and I'm sure Ryan's got a lot of questions for me too. Um, so, hello to everybody that I missed in the comments. I been kind of tuned in here with Ryan and just kind of trying to get focused with what we're about to get into. So, um, all right, time to get excited, I guess now. So, uh, so Ryan, I had a question. When did you start taking interest in the paranormal?
The interest in paranormal started me getting into it is because, like, I know my nan in person in general, and I seen her when I was little, and
Mhm.
she was just a ghost, and I didn't know, but then it was all she was all white. I
Oh,
knew it would
wow,
be my nan and you know herself, and yeah,
that's
and
awesome.
that's what made me believe in the paranormal and ghosts.
Awesome. And were you ever inspired what was that what inspired you to kind of look into it more after that experience?
I was only little then. I did understand a little bit, not a lot, but a little tiny bit.
Okay. Now,
Mm.
the reason why I asked that is because sometimes when someone's really inspired by the paranormal but hasn't they haven't experience anything paranormal, just by that conscious thought could actually draw spirit interaction with that individual, because uh, basically how the law of correspondence work, basically the more that you are aware of this, the more interaction you can get. And uh, or like the more you are aware of an individual, the more other people around you will be aware of an individual, and the more society becomes aware of an individual. You know? So the law of correspondence, as above and so below. And basically the same basically goes for the paranormal as far as spirit interaction. So the more we're consciously aware of these things, the more society becomes aware of these things, and the reality starts to really come in play that this is really happening, but a lot of people are still closed out of it. But the more society becomes aware that this is actually happening, the more people will be aware, and the more we could get in touch with our guides, with our spirits of protection, you know, protectors of the universe, with the creator, with everything, you know. So another thing is I noticed that you and your girlfriend go to these cool, like, forest looking locations.
Yes, that's it, yeah.
So those are really fascinating looking. I love like forests and castles and stuff. Can you tell me a little bit about those?
The woods where we go to is the woods, because over here we don't have the forests in Jersey, Channel Islands. And it's like we don't have abandoned buildings here. We don't have any of those. And which is a shame. Wish we could, but we don't. In the woods, I remember we did some ghost hunting before in the woods ourselves, like paranormal stuff. And we're walking through the woods, and I use the spirit box in back of sleep, and I go and listen and see what words come through. And because well, you know, when the ghost talks, it goes. The other things go backwards, the other ghost comes through forwards. You know, communication. And some ghosts, when they come across to me, some are rude, some are like, you know, polite, and
Yeah.
yeah, which I had some nice ones like say my name and like I said my girlfriend's name, and sometimes my girlfriend doesn't understand half of the script box because it's not for, you know, sometimes it's hard to understand because the energies have to come towards the electromagnetic fields of the EM field. And
Wow,
yeah.
that's awesome to witness that and to be able to hear that too. And I've had that kind of experience happen through disembodied voices before. Unfortunately, this was before I got in the paranormal field, so I didn't really capture it on camera or anything like that. It was the kind of experience where I was laying in bed and would hear a clear whisper of my name, and it was so interesting. It's almost to describe this experience. This was the first like class A clear disembodied voice I heard with my own ears. I never heard a voice so clear that came from nowhere, but came from the same room that I'm in. And
That must be a bit creepy experience as well then at the start.
yeah, and you know, being woken up to it and thinking that you're hearing things, and then all of a sudden hearing it a second time, you know, right then that okay, for sure you're awake, and you just heard this voice again to validate that you woke up from this voice, and it called your name again, and that's the experience I had. And and I tell you what, living, because this is my home, and my home is I got a occult museum over here.
Yeah, I'm very interested in the world you got there. I'm very interested.
Yeah, I get a lot of spirit interaction, especially like because I got my books down here, my studies, and every time usually I come and grab a book and I don't have the lights on, I'll get my shirt tugged, and they want attention. They want me to investigate. They want me to invoke him. So
yeah, that's it. It's like
attention.
what was the first haunted object where you had experiences when you first got one? The first haunted object. What's the worst one between like poltergeist or anything like that? The first object that you had.
The first interaction I had with the paranormal with these objects was going to be Pam the doll, the
Mm.
very large Leanne doll.
Yeah, it
And
seems nice. Yeah.
yeah, the first clue that I got that there was something about this object that was not normal was I started feeling like this drawn connection where I didn't want to put the doll away, and I had it up all year long, and I bought it as a Halloween decoration for a paranormal area that I have because I go big on Halloween parties throughout the year. And I had a paranormal section, and I had the doll way up high displayed as a creepy doll for paranormal section. And I think
Yeah.
just because my sensitive energy to the paranormal and having this object I'm drawn to, I think kind of the spirits that were attached to me all these years, because I've suffered from demonic attachment for more than half my life, and I believe that whatever was attached to me vesseled itself into them, and it uses it kind of like a hiding space. Because now, because I have more dominion of myself over this, it needs the place to hide now. So it uses
Yeah.
Pam, and that's as far as my studies go. I believe that this is what's going on, and Pam started giving me temperature spikes of 66.6, and they would baseline to them. They would not go up, they would not go down. And
That's crazy. Mm.
yeah, so that was the first like beginning go that there's something strange about this object because I'm getting triple sixes as far as the baseline temperature on it. And this would happen often, and I didn't get a milligauss very much until, like a milligauss spike until when I brought it over to a friend's house. And all sorts of stuff were happening. I got EVP capture of on the spirit box where it's saying "Be careful, hurt," and it says extremely clear. It also says the name Robin, and it says it with two
Yeah.
voices saying it. Why it said
Mhm.
this, no idea. I haven't been able to figure that one out. That's been a mystery. I think it was giving me a false name because I do have a true name. After all, this time of investigating it, I finally got a true name. I haven't released that name publicly yet, but that's why I call the doll Pam. And when I first started investigating Pam, I referred the doll as the Ann doll because I didn't
Oh,
have it.
Annabelle. Like that,
Yeah.
yeah. Mm.
So at the
Oh,
beginning,
that's
that's
funny enough. You said that. I was literally going to say that myself there. A bit like Annabelle, you literally said it. It's like, oh, okay. There we go.
yeah, exactly. Towards the beginning of investigating this object, things were getting really disturbing when I started realizing that this doll is not really haunted, it's possessed. It is now starting to animate movement. So the doll is capable of moving on its own. And you're talking about a rag doll that's stuffed with just like cotton or
Mm.
stuffing that you put in a teddy bear. And so
Yeah, the
it's
fluff.
rag,
Yeah. Mm.
and this object I was cleansing. I was doing a cleansing to my objects, and I had my pentacle that I have on this necklace, and I was cleansing my necklace also, and I had it wrapped around its foot. And so I had the sage, burning the sage, like for example, like a piece of sage like this, and just
Yeah, I
burning.
use that as well myself. Yeah, and black salt. Mm.
Yeah. So I'm cleansing it, and the foot kicks at me. So it had a reaction to the smoke. And I had to remain calm because if I show it fear, then it's got ego over me. And I don't have dominion over it. So, because so it'll feed off that, and then it could do something. That's when the attack will happen, when you could scratch and
Mm.
all that stuff. So I just continued doing what I was supposed to do by continuing the cleansing process, and everything was fine. I've also had the next day, I was doing my cleansing ritual, and then all of a sudden, during the process of cleansing these objects over here, the sage popped, and the amber almost hit my eye, like probably like this close. It hit my upper cheekbone.
Wondering.
Big piece of amber popped and almost got in my eye. The sage stick, one of these.
That's not good.
One of these.
So the doll tried to make it happen to you, like, and
it tried to get my eye, and then my ovulus, I just randomly popped out, and wasn't doing like any type of investigation, just trying to see real quick. I just popped up the ovulus device just to see if something would be said, and this is where it gets really disturbing. My eyes blurred up, and they wouldn't stop blurring up. Then they started burning. I didn't get the sage in my eye, but this was a little bit, I forgot to mention this, but this was a little bit later. This is probably about a couple hours later after that process. But when I thought, like, maybe I should just click on the ovulus and see if something gets said. So the very first thing that comes up is eyes. And before that came up, though, like I'm waiting for a word to come up, my eyes start burning and they start blurring up, and I have allergies, so I'm assuming it's allergies. But
maybe, possibly, yeah, like 50-50 type sort of thing, yeah.
Yeah, I'm rubbing my eyes, and it's just getting blurrier, and I start freaking out because I feel like I'm going to go blind, and I hear the ovulus say eyes. That's the thing that really tripped me out. It said eyes, my eyes were blurring, they were burning like fire. And so
that can't be to do with hay fever or anything. It could be to do with allergies, because allergies could be less harmful to that, but with some of the demonic could make it's like Baggins. That's why he wears his glasses to see behind by the demon house and affected his eyes, and he wears glasses now for that.
Yeah, yeah, and oh my gosh, it was probably one of the most disturbing things to me, because if losing your eyesight is huge.
It's awful.
That's a huge, and I was starting to panic a bit. I ain't gonna lie, because it just, the blurring and the burning they were both getting intense, and I finally got the burning to stop. Then the blurriness started going away. This all happened when I started asking for spirits of protection, my spirit guides, please help me fight this off, and telling myself I have dominion over this, like I cannot let this affect me. And that's when it started going away. But here's the thing that's interesting, is that after eyes came up, I looked at the ovulus. I didn't notice that it said this because I'm so like off balance from what's going on, the pain, you can't see, so I'm not paying attention to the ovulus anymore. I look at the ovulus, when I pick it up, it said like. So I like. So it likes what it did to my eyes. So
yeah, it's like I had an experience myself, like, because my mom used to live in haunted houses, and whenever she moved house, and I was in the house, things have happened. It's like, I remember the worst place was in a place in Northern Ireland, because back home in Belfast, because I live in the UK, so my mom's from Belfast in Northern Ireland. And we lived in the haunted houses over there, quite a few of them. But the worst one was mainly one in Station Street, because I kept like witnessing things, like on and off, occasionally, not like all the time, but some certain things, but not always everything.
Yeah.
And I remember the time I used to go to bed, I used to, take the mirrors down. So I used to take the mirrors off the wall. They're like the ones that you clip on, the ones that clip into the wall, those ones. So I did them when I was only young. I did them and put them on underneath where the mirror normally hangs. When I woke up, the mirror's on the wall. So I said to my family, my mom, I said, Mom, did you take the mirror, did you put the mirrors up on the wall? And she went, no. So I asked my sister, she said no. And I thought, what's going on? Like,
Whoa.
Mm. I remember, and things have happened as well. Like, there's
Bizarre.
been, I walked in the bathroom, having a bath and all that, and I seen the face behind me, like a woman's face. Behind me in the
Yeah.
bathroom, there's the face of a woman, and it scared me. And I ran straight down the stairs, screaming. I remember my mum, because where the bedroom was, is, you know, the windows that are in front of the window,
Mhm.
there's nowhere you can see the kitchen. So when the family left the house, and my mum was in there blowing all the candles out, all on the table, the candles. I seen her
Yeah.
blow them all out. Then after I seen lights up on the road, I see went downstairs, make sure they're out properly, but they were. And then I checked, and I was about to get a mask from the fridge, but I didn't have a chance because I saw a shadow figure in the kitchen standing in the corner, and I ran up the stairs and left the light on. And
Wow.
I was like,
That's crazy.
hmm. And I
Yeah.
saw a lady up on the window as well and stuff like that. It was a ghost woman, and you know, and it's just like,
Yeah. Yeah.
hmm.
Shadow figures, man. I don't even know where to get started with that. I've encountered so many shadow figures, black masses, and stuff. And as a matter of fact, I woke up one night and looked right above me, and just above me is this free floating black mass, just like a few feet from above me. And I reached up to grab, like to touch it, to see if what I was seeing was paranormal thing. And like, I mean, the room is dark, but this was just like blacker than black. Like it was just pure darkness. And I went to put my hand on it. It was so cold that it hurt. It felt like daggers to the skin. So it was like colder than ice. Because
Hmm.
you could grab an ice cube and it really won't hurt your skin. Like
No.
this was so ice cold at a whole nother scale level that I haven't experienced in a long time. Where the temperature difference between from where I was
Hmm.
sleeping was very cold, but this anomaly, this object that this this black mass that's over me was so cold though that it actually felt like I stuck my hand in water, just like a bowl of ice and water. It was extremely cold. So,
Did it freak you
uh,
out or anything, or
what's that?
did it freak you out?
Oh, it freaked me out a bit to where I had to kind of I closed my eyes and I basically just kind of called out for some protection, and
Hmm.
it did slowly go away, but subconsciously, yeah, I was afraid, because I wasn't sure if, this would try to absorb into me and then I'd be possessed or something. But I had to remain as confident as possible and stay calm and actually focus on invoking my guides and reaching out for protection. And this was effective, but if if I wasn't in the state of knowledge that I'm in now to do so, I'd probably be in a lot more danger because I wouldn't
Hmm.
understand how to kind of remain calm and try not to be as frightened as I normally would have been in the past. These types of things, I probably would have jumped out of bed and not go in my room for a while. But and interesting is that you know when when I encounter. So actually, let me talk about this other encounter that I had before I go
Okay.
into this.
Hmm.
So there was another time where I was actually in bed, and I remember this made me remember because you said you saw a face, uh, like looking back at you.
Hmm.
So there was a free floating face, and I wasn't sure if that's what I was seeing, like because I'm half asleep. So I'm rubbing my eyes and I look close to see if what this is because it's just like a few feet away from me. And all of a sudden the face starts moving. It's going like this and this, but it has this drag effect, like it's trailing.
Oh, like a trail part of it, yeah, like.
Right. It
Mm,
starts doing that like this, like very small movements, but you could see a trail, like an energy kind of trail behind it. Like it's
mm,
very trippy. It's like something that you would be like on mushrooms to see something like this.
mm.
No, I'm sober as hell. Like I haven't done any of that stuff for so many years. So, but all I know is that this I saw this face, and the second I thought, okay, there's something moving in front of me, and it looks like a face. Uh, Eyes opened up, so the eyes weren't even open, but so it's doing this with its eyes closed, and then opens its eyes, and then at that point, um, like the second it opened its eyes, it just kind of dissolved. But the way it dissolved, it dissolved in a way like this, like kind of shudders, like closing,
Oh,
like
like a shine, like a candles.
yeah, just like
Mm,
that. And it wasn't like a dissolve like smoke. And that's usually how a lot of spirits that I've encountered, they dissolve in a smoke
mm,
like effect. I've also seen entities uh, disappear in ways like where they go into a straight line, and then
mm,
there's so that happened during a time where I'm walking through my living room, and then I'm going to the kitchen. The lights are barely on, but at the corner of my eye, I see a solid object, so solid where you feel like you could just pick it up.
mm.
And this object looked like the size of a very large egg, and it looked like hematite, like my ring that's right here,
Yeah, like
hematite,
right about there, yeah.
and like a
Yeah.
liquid,
Mm. Yeah,
and
like a
uh,
liquid form, yeah. Mm.
and this was like a very large egg, about probably like like that big around, but very oval, and it's free floating. And the bizarre thing is, though, is that I've never encountered anything that was in solid form, where you feel like you could go over there and just pick it up. So something had materialized in a solid metal or a solid form, or this was some type of biological
Mm.
device, meaning like an extraterrestrial origin. So those are some theories that I have of what I was witnessing, and this is one of the things where I had to turn on the lights to see if what I was seeing, if I could see this with the lights on, because I need to make sure my eyes are correct.
Mm.
I flip the light switch on. The second I go for that, I watch this thing go like this. It goes like like a like a page flipping. So going like
Mm.
that, it's a line. So it literally just flipped, and then it was gone. And it didn't dissolve or anything. It just flipped like that, gone.
So yeah, it possibly could be an object that the ghost was trying to put there, like an object,
Yeah,
but didn't have time to make it appear and stay there. Maybe something like that
yeah.
could be.
This so so still, because I've seen a lot of free floating stuff. This thing was so still though, where there was no movement at all. It wasn't even bobbing or anything. It was perfectly still. And
Mm.
the thought, the intention, what I felt from this entity that I saw was that this probably wasn't even an entity. This is probably something that it was a biological device sent by extraterrestrials to observe what was going on. Because some of the objects that I do have involve extraterrestrial entities and demons that correspond to other planets and that also branch off and correspond along with
Mm.
other terrestrial entities. Some of the entities that are involved in these are extremely and highly negative, but I do
What's
believe
the
that
one in the one up in the Gothic thing there? What's that doll's name? The one in the thing in
yeah.
the
Oh
yeah, the
yeah,
black one.
Angela. Yeah,
Oh, I like that. It's nice.
yeah,
Yeah.
Angela. I haven't got to investigate Angela. The only thing that I got to know that right off the bat that there's something going on with Angela over here is the spikes that I got off it. So immediately it was giving off a milligauss spike, and
Mhm.
the temperature was dropping drastically by the seconds. And so
Mhm.
I would say probably like 5 to 5.5 degrees dropping within like 10 seconds. And when you're
Yeah, because when I
losing
look, it's just
that fast,
literally wondering if it's catching my eye. It's like catches my eye, and I'm just looking directly at it. It's like catches my eye. It's like,
yes.
hmm.
And that's why I keep this lock. I use this evil eye as a lock that's hanging on there.
That's good. Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I keep that on the little uh, knob thing right there just to keep it from
That's
getting.
good. Yeah, it has to be
So,
like that. Let's keep it protected. Hmm.
so I also have a protected seal around it from the inside, so that way it keeps
Hmm.
it grounded and won't try to get out. And when it tries to get out, it's got an evil eye that it has to kind of break through. And if
Oh.
that evil eye were to break in half, then I'd be a little worried. I would have to kind of deal with the
Hmm.
situation a little bit more seriously. But right now, it's protecting. And when you're dealing with objects like this, you also have to have a respecting ground, regardless of if they're bad or good
Always,
spirits.
yeah, always do. Yeah.
So with
Hmm.
these objects, these are their vessel in these things. So you're respecting the object like you would walk into someone's house and respect their house. So
Yeah.
as long as you do so with this, there is with using the law of correspondence um, and that knowledge, and they know you understand this, there's
Hmm.
less likely for a spirit attack. Not saying that everybody's going to be invulnerable to these attacks, but there's a much more a power of dominion with yourself with invoking the object or taking care of a haunted object. So,
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, because me and Siobhan, we got haunted doll, but she's friendly. But she, because I asked the spirit box and she's been mistreated. I'll show you who she is. She's very kind. And her name is called Gracie, and this is her here. She's very friendly because we do look after her very well. And Siobhan washed her
yeah.
clothes for her too.
Oh
Yeah.
wow, how cool!
Yeah, it's very cool. Yeah.
That's awesome. Nice. And and so what did you say the doll's name was?
Gracie.
Gracie?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Because I communicated through the spirit box and she said she's been mistreated. Whoever
Oh,
had
really?
her must have mistreated her. So, yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. So, so do you feel like it could be someone that was like maybe they're trapped in the doll, or is this some type of residual energy that is attached to the object?
It's attached to it, and the wee girl, she does run the house. She walks around. She doesn't do anything bad. She's always happy, and yeah.
Oh, anybody that's commenting, I apologize. We're kind of really in tune with the subject we're talking about, but I'd like to say hello to everybody that I haven't said hello to. I can see everybody's trying
Hi
to say hello.
everyone. Mm.
So now, what I noticed about a lot of haunted objects is the 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 delicate matter with dealing with haunted objects that 1 out of 10 it
Mhm.
would be earthbound spirit that's attached to the object. 9 out of 10, usually it's a demonic or highly negative entity. Um, so when I first started investigating Pam, even though I was getting those 666 numbers, I was getting these messages from Pam saying friendly and that it wanted to be my friend. but then all of a sudden these other things start coming up: malicious, malice, and it would say evil through the device.
Mhm.
But then at the same time, it would want me to be careful. It would say, "Be careful, hurt." So it was warning me, "Please be careful, or I might hurt you." So I find out from a medium, speaking to a medium, that this object is, it could be as protective of me as well as it could harm me. So it's because it understands I am the owner of the object, it will respect that. But if
Mhm.
I don't take care of it, it could harm me. But
That's right, yeah, because that's how they work. Yeah.
so, but they also use this for manipulation at their advantage. So, like when someone says they have a haunted object, and or they think the item's haunted, and they start seeing like an innocent child or something roaming around the house, um, I I kind of flag the situation and ask the people, well, please be careful, because this is usually the beginning process of them using manipulation, saying that they're a child, so that way they could feel welcome, that you could feel trust and welcome the spirit in, and then find out that spirit isn't really a child, that it's something much worse.
It could be like a deep demonic entity type sort of thing.
Yes, because you can't really welcome the entity in. Don't get me wrong, it could forcefully get itself in, but it makes it a lot more easier to just go straight for the prize,
Mhm.
just allow you welcome it. And so it's a very delicate situation with haunted objects, and I've uh I've had a lot of times where I've invoked spirits in haunted objects and got these common human names, where I start getting names like Greg, Ed, um, Tim, just really small common human names. These are huge signs for demonic manifestation. They use these names to create false names, so that way you have a
Mhm.
nickname. They want you to nickname them. This is part of building a friendship with the entity. So they feel that now you have a trust for them, that you're welcoming them into your life. And when you welcome that spirit in your life, you're ultimately allowing them to use your body, to use yourself, and to use your
That's
body.
right. I got something to ask.
Hmm.
My girlfriend wants, like my girlfriend said she wants to know 100%. She wants to know what this entity is because we heard this growl in this house going through down the stairs, a loud growl and a scream, a male loud growl screaming at the same time going straight down the stairs and growled and the house vibrated. What type of demon is that?
Are you serious?
Serious. See, my girlfriend will tell you.
Wow. A growl
Oh,
going down the stairs,
mhm.
and it, like, wow.
Vibrated the house, yeah. The walls are shook.
When did this happen?
This happened on the 31st of October, as about 6 in the morning,
Oh my
full
God.
moon. Mm.
Wow. That's so. So what was going on in your guys' mind during that time?
She got a bit scared, and then after that, I thought that could be some demonic entity doing that.
Yeah. Uh,
And
I
I would
mean,
like to know what type of demon does that, what name of it, would you have the name of it?
she said a scream, then a growl
Yeah,
male.
scream, yeah.
Wow. So, yeah, and some people think that, you heard a growl, maybe it was a spirit of a dog. Uh, Dogs usually don't growl like that, as a spirit.
No.
They're not gonna, I trust me. That's what they're gonna want people to think, because then that allows it easier for someone to feel more relaxed, that, oh, it's just a dog spirit. that's another way they feel more welcome and comfortable to, you know, settle in and do what they want. Someone just said, how do you feel about paranormal apps and have you ever used them? So
I don't like
I
them. I don't like
I
them.
I don't really recommend paranormal apps. The reason why is because most or all phones they're not really built for these types of things, for metaphysical and like when you're getting at that basically are trying to manipulate Ovilus device where you're supposed to be receiving messages from spirits from the other side, and these apps are being controlled, used by people that for entertainment purposes can really actually make a false impact on the people that are genuinely investigating these. But the problem is they don't like to state that. If they stated that it was for entertainment purposes, that would be no problem to me. I wouldn't care. But I'd be very cautious about using paranormal, any kind of metaphysical paranormal device through a phone app. Be very careful doing that. Because
Because they still track your location and your GPS. That's what they can do. As
yeah,
well. I know where you are.
and another thing is because this could actually be dangerous too, because you're using a device that is giving you false stuff. However, you're still in an invoking process. So you're consciously invoking something. You're trying to get a hold of something, but you don't even know what's coming in because your device is giving you false stuff.
And it goes to
So
say, I'm not saying that.
yeah, so you could get
Yeah.
attacked without warning. So this is something that I wouldn't really recommend, but be very cautious of if you're going to be curious and look into it yourself, because you know sometimes you kind of have to look into it yourself. If you know, especially as a skeptic, that's kind of what I do. Like I kind of want to get into it and find out what's going on. When I hear a sound during an investigation, we got to investigate. We got to make sure that it's not coming from pipes. We got to make sure it's creaking the walls. Like if it's a household, we got to look for
It's always good to
every
do something.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we can't just rule that everything could be paranormal. And another
No,
thing is
of course not.
even actual professional metaphysical devices like EMF detectors, they have their contaminations with certain things, like house appliances. There could be a circuit box or a power outlet, some lamps, stuff like that will actually interfere the electromagnetic field in the detection. So people think that they may have got an EMF high read, but in fact
But
got
it's not,
contaminated.
no.
Yeah, so those are the kind of things, and especially the cell phone apps could be much more sensitive to that. So you could be getting contamination just by being like 12 feet from a appliance, but a professional EMF detector, you would have to be like 3 feet from it to get any type of contamination. So there's a huge difference on contamination and sensitivity. When you got a device that's overly
Yeah, it's
sensitive.
like I've got one of them as well. So,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah. So if you're going to
And
use a phone, it
yep,
goes off. Ah, see? Yeah.
yep. See, and you get that audible detection. It's amazing. Not going to lie, invoking don't bother me. I've dealt with evil stuff before, but each to their own. Oh, yep, most definitely. Yep. Yep. Exactly. So, there's always a price to pay in all this, but the passion doesn't stop us as individuals. Because like the law of correspondence, the more we are aware of this, the more society becomes aware of this, and it actually will stop, the world violence by a lot. The more people are actually aware of this, there will be no room for negativity on Earth. The more people are society is becoming more aware. And I think that's what's also
It's so
going on.
like,
There's a big change going on. And I believe it's because society is becoming more aware, and everything's coming out. Everything's surfacing up. That's why there's a lot of fighting. There's a lot of violence right now, and the heat. The sun has also a lot of impact of what happens here on Earth, and is actually really connected to us consciously. So when the sun's really enraged, people get more enraged. So
that's it.
So it reacts to us. Our energies are so tied to the universe. So, yeah, I don't know if you wanted to add anything to that, Ryan.
Yeah, I actually totally agree with you there because it's like the solar system can control us. It's like the moon; it can control us as well. Like the sea, it controls the sea as well, and it's like it controls the mind. And the moon can guide us in different ways as well, in patterns.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
like I said, things are surfacing up, and I believe that we're in the midst of a really big change that's going to happen. That's actually going to enlighten a lot of people. And
Hmm.
unfortunately, there's some people that are more sensitive to this rage and giving into that rage, and causing a lot of this violence. So, but then there's the individuals that understand that they have more dominion over this, and that's part of the law of correspondence, is that those people are being more aware of an individual. They're actually having more compassion over an individual, and society itself starts to slowly develop that. So I believe, that the more
Yeah.
we raise consciousness, the more, the Earth's frequency will turn up, because for thousands of years, you know, we our Earth has been contaminated with a low conscious frequency, and that's why
Hmm.
we've kind of been trapped with this misinformation of knowledge, and not be able to understand how to feed our bodies, how to move our bodies. That medicine is wrong. That almost everything that you read, all main textbooks are mainly wrong. That everybody is
They are.
taught
Yeah.
all
It's like
years out.
Wikipedia. They can't be mistake.
Yeah,
So
this is because they're not going to control your minds by controlling your brains and your thought process. They're
it's like
going
they're
to,
trying to brainwash people into believing that word into another word
yes,
and change the
exactly.
story, and you completely keep it one story and that's it, and just leave it as that. You know.
So they're going to use brainwash. They're going to use propaganda. They're going to use all sorts of stuff to try to manipulate your
Mhm.
minds, to program you to do a certain way, to think a certain way, and that's it. So as
But
long
I
as they
just,
can
well,
do that,
I just ignore all that. I just focus on my own mind and nothing else. I just focus on my own and live my own world and my own life. No one
exactly.
else's.
Yep. So, we are all an individual in the universe. We all are
Mhm.
conscious beings. We all have a free will. And that's the power of life, is, having a free will. And the people that are, involved with these highly negative beings that want to control that and subside that from us, they want to strip our free will away. They don't like free will, because the freedom of
No.
thought, um, if you don't have that, this allows them to brainwash you more, to dumb you down, um, allow these invisible negative entities that we don't see with our eyes to control and manipulate you, to manipulate your emotions. And another thing about emotions, emotional energy does a lot. The
Mhm.
big thing is that, when us humans start spurting out, emotional energy, because we don't understand how to control our emotions, this makes a huge impact of what is drawn in, as above and so below. So, when you're spurting out negative energy, guess what you're going to attract? You're going to attract negative iconic influence entities, and they're going to influence
Mhm.
your thoughts. Some of the objects that I have are malices. They are influencers of evil. They do this.
Yeah.
So if you think about that, if demonic, highly negative entities influence evil by malice, then there are iconic negative influencers in the flesh on earth here that are publicly doing the same because they were taught this by demonic, iconic, negative influencers. So they've been
Yeah.
doing it
So
thousands of years to dumb down society so that way we can't
mhm.
understand what's really going on.
It's like like Ouija boards, but I don't use them. I stay away from them because they're evil. They can be demonic. But I'm always wondering, where do the demons actually come from in that board? Like literally, how do they come out? Come from wherever they come from? Where do they come from? Like originally?
Yeah. So, and you're talking about Ouija boards?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, a Ouija boards basically the ritualistic use of an Ouija board is something that is very, very old. And the dangers with a Ouija board is the uh, the influence and the iconic use of the Ouija board. And the when you're invoking anything through a Ouija board, most of the time, and just like a haunted object,
Mhm.
1 out of 10 chance invoking something benevolent. Most of the time, it is going to be malevolent. It's the cell phone to the other side. So, yeah, it's something that I don't really feel the need to have to use an Ouija board. Now, I respect, others using a Ouija board. I won't really involve myself having to use one. But it's there becomes a time with using an Ouija board when you're using that you actually grow an attachment a lot easier than most invoking situations, and people start to become obsessed and start using the board by themselves. And a lot of these start by people using the board by themselves. And there's strict rules of how to use a board. If you're using a Ouija board, there is strict rules, and a lot of times that I've investigated or looked into people that reached out for help from me um, that had this issue with attachment and find out that they in fact messed with an Ouija board or were pressured to use an Ouija board. They didn't want to, but they felt pressured, so they used it, and they end up. It's always something that's highly negative, and some of them involved in people that actually lost lives because of this, because of using a Ouija boards. So what makes me wonder is why is it that Ouija boards are so intensely dangerous to use compared to using a spirit box? A spirit box, according to most mediums that I've spoke to, say that a spirit box can be just as dangerous as using an Ouija board because you basically are invoking just like using an Ouija board. What's up, Xavier? Um, and basically just in your hand. So this makes you wonder, and I feel like it's whatever you put into that device. So if you feel like you are in danger, like you shouldn't be using this,
Mhm.
then you're going to get exactly what you're not wanting to get, or it's the intention you put into the device. If you have a very fearful like intention in what you're about to use, I believe that that's the key for anything highly negative to get into your mind and really figure out what scares you most.
Yeah.
Once they figure that
That's
out,
what I'm just doing a protection spray.
oh wow, that it's a
Yeah,
spray.
I'm sprayed on me to protect my aura. So,
Oh,
yeah.
that's awesome. Yeah, I got. I don't have any sprays, but I got like some oils and stuff over here that
Well, I might send
are
you some over if you want. I'll send you some over because I got them from the shop. They're not expensive, so
yeah. Oh, you got them at a
it's
shop.
made by a white mix himself. I'll send you some over. You can send me your address and I'll just send some over to you, some of these
Oh, that's
because they
awesome.
do work.
And they sell. That's cool. I love how that bottle looks too. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's
That's awesome.
KF is by protection spray. Yeah,
That's
and it has rid of the negative energies and lavender and rosemary. It's got lavender and rosemary inside.
oh yeah. Most definitely. Let me read that. If you missed it, Brian. This guy said, "Being a medium myself, it's down to the relevance.
But this,
Give a tool you use that could be a board, spirit box, or app." I agree with that. Definitely. But yeah, Ryan, that's an awesome spray. That's really cool.
I'll send you some over.
That's sick. Yeah, I got
Yeah.
stuff I got from a friend of mine said, and get these at beyondmediums.com. He sells them
Oh,
on
that's
there.
nice.
Clear oil, and this stuff will react.
What's it smell like? Does it smell nice?
What's that?
Does it smell nice?
Yeah. Oh, the sale price?
Oh.
I'm not exactly sure. I was given to it by gift, but he does sell them on there.
Oh, that's
But
cool.
but dude, this stuff is very effective, and that's the stuff I used on me during the live investigation with Giggles the Clown. That's right behind me, right here.
Oh, yeah. I've seen your videos on YouTube that was pretty good. And he has spoken a
Yeah,
few times, but not always. Sometimes he's very quiet and he doesn't interfere with your light and your camera. I notice.
yeah. Oh,
And he
that
was picking on
spray.
SLF camera, you picked up on that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That spray does it have a good scent?
Yeah, it does indeed, yeah. I spray around the house as well sometimes. I got one of these too, my SS as well.
Oh, yeah. You got yourself one of those
I got one
SLS.
too.
Yeah. Yeah, I got one of those too. Those things are fun, and they
They
work.
are good to use.
Oh yeah, they
Yeah.
work. And I've actually had one of the entities in Pam that I have locked up down here um, jump out of the doll and start climbing the walls live. And
Yeah.
yeah, so that was I was not expecting that, but at the same time, it doesn't surprise me because an object like that likes the attention. It's not afraid to kind of show or reveal itself. And I think that's the
Well, do you
difference.
mean lost
On
without her sister? You know about my experiences or Duran's experiences? Because it could be about both of us.
Gotcha.
Mm.
Yeah. So
Yeah, so it's like I experienced some things as well. Like I felt like some pitch before, but because I don't fake things. My stuff I don't really at all fake because I don't like people that fake stuff. I show respect to the living. I don't need to fake it because I don't want to do that because I find it very respectful. And I see a lot of YouTubers out there that have faked a lot of videos, which I think, why fake stuff? There's no need for it, you know?
exactly. I agree with that for sure. I put holy water on twice and had scratches where it was. Okay, so that could be because you probably got attacked because what you're doing using the holy water, if you don't have the real, you got to put a lot of intention when you're using that. Now, yes, the water is blessed, but if you don't have 100% confidence in using that during a demonic manifestation, they could have ego over you or overpower over that, depending on how powerful the entity is and actually it won't even phase it sometimes. Or sometimes they may get harmed in the process of doing that. So that entity that may have scratched you with that holy water, it probably did hurt for it to do that, but just didn't have enough dominion over it. And that intention in wanting to do that to protect you. So always, basically, kind of like when I cleanse, I always have to get myself in a meditative state to kind of recenter myself before I start doing cleansing. Ever since I started doing this, I started having less fire hazard situations where these things are trying to explode my sage on me and attack me during the
That's
process. So there's certain things that these entities know that we don't understand, and sometimes we'll never understand. And that's part of researching the paranormal is you're never gonna run out of answers. There's always gonna be answers, and there's always gonna be more questions. It's vast. So
yeah. So
and
what's the like? That's right. What's the like the worst haunted place you ever investigated? Like somewhere where you've been investigating. What was the worst experience you had in the building where you're
oh,
investigating?
I think probably the most intense investigation that I have had was, I would have to say, when I was in the small room under my friend's staircase with the dolls in a circle, and we were doing that experiment. And immediately when I felt this sudden anxiety hit me, I had an infrared camera that was pointed at, that was capturing everything in the room, but it was an infrared night vision, and it's because of that, it's capturing a spectrum of light that our eyes aren't seeing. And the the interesting thing is the timing of the event, of how it happened. The sudden anxiety hitting me, and then this anomaly just coming out of nowhere and then jumping into my body. So it jumps into my body, and then all of a sudden I turn my head to the camera and say, I have anxiety.
Mhm.
And I didn't, no one saw the anomaly. It was only captured on the infrared. But all I know is I felt anxiety. It felt like my heart was going like this, like a hummingbird, just like.
Mhm.
And the another thing is not just that, but there was an anomaly that jumped into my chest and out and back in, and then this orb just goes poof, like that right into my body, and then that's when it happened.
Because
And
once you do feel its presence today, you know it's there. That's what it was. They show you like something recreate, like reconstruct of what happened to that, so it could have died of a heart attack or something like that. Or
yeah,
mm,
so when that moment happened, um, moments before, just like within a minute, and I'm gonna reveal all this stuff when I start revealing the content of this stuff. But I, I asked the spirit. I said, "Do you want to speak to me or Corinthian?" And Corinthian was the other person that was investigating with me, and I was training him in the process during that investigation because he was really into this and wanted to learn how to investigate. So I was like, well, let's get you hands on, and we're going to do this experiment together. And I walked him through it and just have him shadow me, and I just wanted to kind of see if this entity wanted to speak to me or if he wanted to speak to my friend. The interesting thing is a clear voice comes in and says, "You'll discover." When that
oh,
happens, when that happens, a moment later is when that happened, that sudden anxiety and the anomalies hitting my body. So when it's saying "you'll discover," it's like, okay, it's gonna, meaning that it's gonna, I'm gonna find out who it wants to talk to, wants to invoke me, and that's why it's attacking me and focusing everything on me. Does anything follow
yeah,
him?
my government's asking, yeah, has anything followed you from a location?
Yeah. So I have to go back on these comments. Sorry. My attachment is one evil bastard, but used to him now. Um, yeah, that attachment that you have, just um, what I would advise is definitely a seek out a medium for a really, really genuine cleansing, and actually ask them for advice on how to do this yourself at home too, because you may have to repeat the process on a weekly to daily basis. Um, yes, you can feel it. Oh yeah, for sure. What's on trauma?
Mike talks about trauma demons.
Trauma demons. So, um, well, yeah. So with trauma demons, I've actually, I believe some of the demons that were involved in an attachment with me were also involved because of trauma too. I did almost die when I was 7, and actually the doctors told my parents that I was not going to make it, that there was a very slim chance for me to make it, and
Oh, that's not good.
this was because my appendix bursted, and I had gangrene and everything from this infection. So after the surgery and after surviving all that, that's when a lot of things started happening. But I think that a lot of the stuff really happening, the experience was most intense after that surgery. And I think it's because something happened from almost dying, that near-death experience that I had, that
Yeah.
caused my third eye to open and start being able to be much more sensitive to the other side. And not saying that I'm unique here, but that something had happened that where I just became a lot more sensitive to things. So,
Yeah.
oh, he said, I am a medium and I have had a cleanse question. Interesting. Um, so yeah, the trauma demons though is that, yeah, they take demons take full advantage of when you're at your most vulnerable state. So when you are in any kind of state of trauma, there's abuse involved,
Mhm.
you you barely survived something very traumatic, and you're still kind of dealing with the traumatic happenings of that. This your consciousness level is lowered. You're in a you're still in the state of fear, and this fear is a low conscious state. So they're going to take advantage of that. These low vibrational beings that are being signaled by these
Mm.
emotions, and especially trauma demons will are a huge cause of attachments today, and
Which it
have
can
been.
be dangerous, can't they?
What's that?
Trauma demons can be dangerous.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Mm.
Um, they they could cause a lot of bad stuff, and like I said, I've struggled with attachments for a long period of my life, and I do
I feel
believe
sorry
that
for you for that, you know, I feel sorry for you. But
they never really are ever gone. They always will come back. So people say like, I don't have an attachment anymore. Attachments don't really ever go away because the demon will not go back to where it came with a soul. So, whether if it's a devil entity or a demon, so I may say like, that my attachment's gone, that it matters,
mhm.
I could keep saying that, but it's never really gone. But I could subside it being around me. So that's why I surround myself with protection. I do daily to weekly cleansings. Um, I I always try to keep myself in understanding that I have dominion over this attachment, that I have control over my life, that this thing does not control my life. And so, you know, also when you're out investigating, I don't want to bring baggage to an
Mhm.
investigation
Yeah.
and invoking my attachment and not, you know, what's there. So the intention and what I'm involving my conscious, what I'm connecting my conscious to. So what I'm basically, you're putting everything into it, and this is a part that I tell people to be careful with opening too much, because you'll get what you're looking for if you do open up to it. But you have to be very careful with that and understand what you're opening up to, and you want to kind of
Yeah,
look
so
for
another
signs.
portal. Mm.
Yeah, you got to look for the signs and understanding the signs, and that's the part of why I study demonology, is because I could understand the signs and be more aware of what I'm getting into before I allow myself to open up anymore. So, like the signs of the smell, the signs, things coming in threes. What time is it when this manifestation occurs? And or is the victim that I'm helping are like, what are their signs that they've been dealing with? Are they suffering from nightmares? Are they having sudden anxiety out of nowhere? Are they smelling traces of urine for no reason, or feces, or anything like abnormal like that? These are really common signs of demonic manifestation versus, an earthbound spirit. An earthbound spirit, you're not going to be experiencing those types of experiences like that. Those are usually commonly known for demonic manifestation, and this is something very important to actually
Yeah.
understand. Let's see, let me read this. Ryan Jamie hasn't fully opened up yet, but he is spiritual worker.
I say no more about. I would say no more. So I don't want to talk about all this. I'm talking about the paranormal things like there's like it's like saying like something comes through. They can you see documentaries of some people have blood that comes through the walls. Some people say it keeps appearing, reappearing, and it's like you know.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So what's that basically doing?
Yeah. So um, I was there was something that I had. Oh yeah, something that I really needed to ask you is there was a castle that I saw in your guys' post. I'm not sure if it was
Oh
your own.
yeah,
What castle was
Gory
that?
Castle. Gory,
What is? I'm sorry.
Gory Castle.
Corey Castle.
Yeah,
Interesting. I got to look that up because that castle looked awesome. That place is
yeah, it's
big.
nice.
That place looks huge.
It is
Oh
huge. When you're in the ground, when you walk through the gates, it's nice. And it's a
yeah.
heritage site. Like I'm saying, if you like to come over, you visit that castle. It's amazing. It's haunted as well. And I have the voice through the script box saying, "Who
Oh,
are you?"
you caught a voiceover there?
Mhm.
That's
Yeah,
awesome. And
and back of
do you
speed as well.
do you have that voice capture on your page?
Oh no, it's on my spirit box, on my S box. I got.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, where is it? Oh no, it's not charging. Where is it? There it is.
Oh, you got an S box. Those
Yeah,
things
they're
are
pretty
cool
good.
because they actually record them. That's
Yeah,
cool. Yeah, see,
and they
with
got
those,
reinforced from that thing.
yeah, that's sick. Yeah. So, uh, are you planning on doing any type of releasing of any of your voice captures on YouTube or Instagram?
Yeah, I like to do. I'm going to put some videos on YouTube. I need to get my camera caught up because I haven't put any videos up there yet, but I need to start filming more. So then I can put it on my YouTube channel, like my videos.
Someone said, funny how you're saying don't be negative, but you're straight away not believing me. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying I don't believe you. I think you're misunderstanding what I'm saying. I was saying that I'm not saying you're being negative, and actually, I understand what it's like to have an attachment. It's that like that reaction you just did, that's a low conscious saying. You got to have dominion over these of being negative. So that type of reaction right there was negative. So I'm not saying that I don't believe you. I believe you. I believe that people suffer from attachments. But I'm just trying to give you advice. If you don't agree with my advice, that's fine. But you can't allow this entity to do that. Ryan's saying he doesn't do apps yet. When he used to be on lives with Mike, he was always with responses.
Yeah, that was only one time, I believe, in one response, but that was only one time at a time because I thought at the time I didn't know enough about them until I started digging into it properly.
Yeah.
That's how
So
it all started happening.
yeah, and that's completely fine. So, but but yeah. Oh, yeah, of course. We need to move on because we can't get stuck on this. So, Ryan, I was gonna ask,
Hmm.
have you had, being over where you're at, have you encountered any type of UFO sightings, or do you believe in UFOs?
I believe in them, but I believe in them, but I haven't came across them.
Yeah. And can you explain your experience?
I believe in aliens, but I haven't came across the UFO.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't came across one.
Okay. So,
I wish I could. That'd be amazing. Then I'll put it on camera,
yeah,
and see if I see anything or.
yeah. So, yeah. So I believe that there's a strong connection with UFOs
Mhm.
and spirits, and there is a huge understanding between the two that these entities are capable of doing this and actually traversing through spiritual planes without death.
Mhm.
And this we call conscious abilities. This is stuff that we don't understand as humans. But practicing meditation, it is said that the more you practice meditation, you could actually, your ghost body will actually allow yourself to traverse through these different realms. Um, but the average person is not going to understand that. I haven't got myself there yet. I don't understand how that works. But there are people that are much more sensitive to be able to do this with much more easily, and
Mhm.
especially like remote viewers with ESP.
Yeah.
So there's all this stuff that a lot of people are kind of occulted from, and when I say occulted, I mean hidden. So
Yeah, from the Area 51. Mm.
yeah, so exactly, and that's a good example that you say Area 51 is because Area 51 was supposed to be a myth all for years, but it's there and it's obviously there, and they admitted that everybody's known that, and it's like, why are you covering up so much when it's right there? Why are you lying to everybody? It's right there.
Exactly.
Like it bothers me that they have to do that. Have you seen the fourth kind? Yeah, actually, I've encountered the third kind. I've I've encountered just about every kind, I believe, because I've had may have even experienced uh, yes, an abduction myself, and I just don't have memory of it because when this happened, I was a child, but during the process of when this happened, I talked about this in one of my lives before, but for anybody that's new, I'm going to explain this again. Um, I woke up to these bright beaming lights in my bedroom through the blinds as a child, and I thought it was my dad working on uh, cleaning up the area outside because he get off late at night and work on whatever he had time to work on because my dad was a workaholic. He would always be working and not so much sleep. And I thought it was one of his work lights outside. And I was like, what is my dad, doing right now? So I went up to the window to snoop to see what he was doing, and the first thing I see is this entity that looked like a very frail gray. But exactly something that I didn't understand at that age, but as an adult, when I look back at that, I knew exactly what I was looking at. As a child, I didn't understand what I was looking at. And this entity put its hand up like that. It didn't have the hand of a human. This thing only had 3 digits, and the fingers were a lot longer than our hands. This thing was not transparent. It was in the flesh, but I couldn't see anything behind it. And I didn't see it until it was like really close enough to approach the window. And the weird thing is when this entity blinked, the blink wasn't like how our eyes blink. It was kind of like like the eyes were hidden behind lenses that were covering.
Oh.
But you could see the blink happen within those lenses. And that's all I remember was the big elongated eyes, the little slit mouth, and a tiny nose. Oh, thank you. Appreciate that. That's the last thing I remember. All of a sudden, that feeling of when you're about to faint or black out and everything is white. So this happened, that feeling of like falling. I felt like I was free falling. And this blackout effect started happening and ringing in my ears. This is all I remember. And I woke up in my bed the next moment, and my ears were still ringing when I woke up. And that's where I think today that I actually experienced something probably outside that bedroom, like a whole event happened that was wiped from memory. And I think this has happened before too as an adult. I've had an entity, that very frail looking being, where it looked like you would blow on it and you would move it. And really big head, and it looked like the head was too heavy for its body. Put it that way. And it had these really long arms, very insect-like. And I remember it. I was laying down, and it raised its hand over my body like this, and it was reaching down to touch my chest, and all of a sudden it just felt like my heart and everything just kind of fell through from underneath me and down to the ground, like poof.
Blimey. That's interesting as well. That is interesting.
And then
that's actually a good experience that you had, though.
And this experience happened from a layer of dreams. So I was dreaming, and then all of a sudden the dream ended, and I was in bed, and then this event happened, and then I woke up, and it was daylight after that event happened. So it was like a dream within a dream, and I believe that sometimes...
I believe in that as well myself. I believe in that too. Dream inside another dream. When you wake up, you're in another dream. You try to think, can I get out of it? Well, if you can't, you're in reality.
Yes. This dream state is something that spirits and entities could use to access your mind. And they could actually, negative entities especially, will use this to access all your information about you, to learn everything about you. And they use your nightmares. If they can't get to you and when you're awake, they're going to get to you when you're asleep. And it's much more easier that way. Benevolent beings, angelic beings, could also access your dreams to give you messages. And I believe that some of the extraterrestrial contact that I've had in dreams have been pretty genuinely real, but in a dream state, but actually really happened. Because I believe that, and when I'm saying this in theory, that this is like, everybody needs to believe everything I'm saying to them. This is in theory, but this is also based off of research and personal experience. That dreams, I believe that your consciously, your ghost body, your consciousness is actually leaving and going somewhere. And it's going somewhere to wherever your dream's intention is sending you off to. But unfortunately, there are entities out there that manipulate your dreams and send you off somewhere you do not want to be. sounds like outer body experience. That happens a lot. I've actually believed that I experienced outer body experiences a lot.
I believe in it as well myself, yeah. Because I saw myself like standing in front of
Sleeping.
my bed, standing in front of the bed, and I saw myself sleeping.
Yeah, I saw
That's what I
myself
did.
and actually just walking away from my body and then going back in the room and then laying back to sleep in my physical body. I've
Yeah.
actually had dreams where I knew I was like a spirit in my dream and I was doing things like where I knew I could walk through a wall. I knew I could
Mm.
go from here to there within seconds. Like I could be like I could go from here to the front door and I'd go really fast through all the walls into the front door within like a heartbeat. And it was weird that I consciously was aware that I was able to do these things. And I think that these were part of out of body experiences in dream state.
Yeah, it's like I believe in, it's like, you know, when you have a nightmare and you see like a demonic entity as a ghost, like some
Mhm.
demon or something. You see, I had a few of those dreams, and I thought, well, it's obviously entered my sleep when I'm sleeping. And sometimes it tries to chase me, and sometimes it tries to get to me, but I don't let it
Yes.
because I run away from it, and I jump and I start flying.
Yeah. See, you try to get your thoughts together in your dream, and you actually try to manipulate your own dreams to actually take control of it.
Mhm.
That's what you mean.
Yeah,
So,
which is pretty fun when you fly in your dream. It's fun.
Ryan, I noticed you have an SLS camera.
Yes,
Have you caught anything wild on that before?
I have caught a stick figure, two stick figures crawling on the ceiling in the living room.
Oh, you got the
Two
prawn.
dudes crawling on the ceiling, like walking around
Yeah,
upside
I've
down.
seen those. I've witnessed crawling on the ceiling, like I said on live with Pam. And when you see them crawling on ceilings, that's a different experience with seeing them crawl on the ceiling versus just free floating. There's a completely different experience to that. Oh man, yeah, I know
It's
exactly
weird. I
that.
don't know why. Because when obviously you're not alive, you can do that. So how can I go upside down?
Yeah, right. And so I've had them. I've done things where I would stand perfectly still, and I would
Yeah,
have my say film me real quick, and just to test the environment around with Pam in the suitcase right by me, and just to see. This was something that I tried out just before I went out to Dyer Lane the first night, and or no, it was sorry, the second night when I took Pam out. And I think that this was also a sign that something was going to happen because that's when I was able to get the huge answer that I was looking for out of Pam the doll. Uh, oh yeah, how long I've been in the paranormal? I'll get to that just after this. Um, so I'm standing by the suitcase with Pam in the suitcase, and she's running my SLS, mapping me out and whatever's going on, whatever maps out on there. So my skeletal figure is on there like normal. Then all of a sudden, this entity comes around and starts trying to touch me, and then but it can't touch me, and I think it was because I had all this protection on me because I had a lot of
yeah.
protection. 'Cause, I I didn't have all this metaphysical protection before, and it's something that I should have had a long time ago, and something that I needed knowledge of. I had knowledge of the paranormal, but I didn't have the knowledge of spiritual protection correctly, and I wasn't spiritually correct for paranormal. I did have the passion to
Mhm.
want to investigate the paranormal, but I didn't spiritually ready. That's why I didn't get into it late. But I did study it for over 20 years. Um, but what was happening is that it wasn't touching. As soon as it tried to touch me, uh, it was weird because it felt like ants were crawling over my arm.
Oh.
It felt like fiery ants.
Mhm.
And I was telling her, I was like, I feel like this burning, tingly sensation. And as that was happening, apparently this entity was crawling up the wall backwards like this. yeah, but like get away from it. Like it tried to harm me, but it harmed itself in the process. And just like that, the guy was talking about how he got scratched with the holy water. I believe that this is something that occurs. They may attack you, but they may take a punch doing it. And I think that's what
Yeah,
this
it's like some it's like some demonic entities can actually, you know, shapeshifters, can they actually mimic like a shapeshifter? Can they mimic?
Yep, they can. The
Yeah,
shape shift.
because that's funny enough. Because when I used the spirit box in the house, I was by the stairs and using the spirit box in back to sleep. Then the friendly ghost came towards me, and I spoke to the ghost, and it said a new a new phantom. It's like, you know, a new ghost. So I said, what type? He said, like, evil. And they kept saying new all the time through the script box, back to sleep, kept saying it all the time. And I did there. And we do hear a few knocks, tapping, and we make sure we debunk things, make sure we debunk stuff like, say, right, that could be the bathroom, let's see what's going on. Right, let's see how this happened. Let's see if there's, nope, there's nothing to, like, you know, to debunk and explain. It's like, okay, let's hear if we hear the noise again. So when
Yeah.
we go to bed, I say to her, pretend to go to sleep, and because they tend to like it when you go to sleep. And so we did. I told her to pretend because when I'm the only one awake, I can hear these things. But then after that, she was awake and she heard these things that I was hearing, like the knocking, the tapping, and there was nothing to debunk.
Hmm.
I was like, okay.
Uh, yeah. To answer this gentleman's question real quick, because he was asking how long I've been in the paranormal. Now, other worlds, are you referring the question to both of us or just one of us? Because I could explain how long I've been into the paranormal. My
Oh
first
no, Jean was
paranormal.
just asking you. She was just asking you.
Oh, he's
That's
asking me.
Wells Paranormal Jean, yeah.
Okay.
She was only
So
asking you.
my earliest paranormal experience, I almost, it's been so long. It's been almost as long as I can remember. But my earliest experience that I far back remember was 5 years old. But I could remember some experiences uh, as being a toddler as 2 years old. That's how I can. It's strange, but I have a very strong long-term memory. Um, and but my earliest paranormal experience, I would have to say, is 5. Oh, he said his was 5 too. Yeah, see, that's interesting. And you know what is that the earlier stages of childhood um, are the most vulnerable because negative entities are extremely attracted to children. And the reason why is because of their innocence. They're more closer to their higher selves. That's why when a child is in a state of trauma, there's a gland within all of us as humans called the adrenal gland. When you are in a high state of trauma, uh, there's a compound released in the adrenal gland called adrenochrome. These highly negative entities will feed off it. They could get signals off it. They smell this stuff like a scent, and they feed off it as like it could be like a drug or to these entities, and actually make them more powerful. So they treat this in this type of manner to feed off of it. So
Mm-hmm.
this adrenal gland could be released through fluid or through just the energy of it. So when I say fluid, is that like if someone were to get cut and they're in a state of high trauma from that cut, that adrenochrome is that compound is within the blood and that has been
Like
known.
animals, yeah.
Yeah. So this attracts demons. And that's why in ritualistic practices, and especially, this goes as far back thousands of years ago, demonic practices of conjuring demons and rituals where they're involving the killing of an animal or a sacrifice of somebody, that trauma of doing that, the more traumatizing the situation is that they make it, more torture that they put into it, the more pain they put into it, the more potent that they will be able to attract the entity to be able to manifest, because they're actually using this energy to manifest. And that's why that demons are so attracted to children, is because their adrenal gland is much more potent than ours, because they're more closer to their higher selves. They're more innocent. They haven't been exposed to as much misinformation as we have as adults. So the more we grow in society is what our minds are fed by society. These young, fresh minds haven't been fed by this information in mainstream society. So they're more connected to their higher self.
Oh, that's right. I just remembered, it just came back to me. When I was researching about, even though I don't agree with things, but Centanics, they claim to be good people, but they're not good because they try to bring people into their cult, and it's like I read about them on the internet and I started smelling this nickel smell and iron, nickel and copper and iron. It's like, don't know what it was, and it's like someone doesn't want me to read about it because I wanted to know exactly what they're on about because they're all the same, you know what I mean? But I don't know what that nickel smell thing was all about. It's weird. I didn't really understand.
Interesting. Like what kind of smell was it? You said it was some kind of
Nickel
what?
and copper. Nickel and copper and iron and
Oh,
stuff.
yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, that's weird. Yeah, have that scent. Um, so another thing is that that it just comes to show overall that when it comes to the adrenal gland, when it comes to emotional attacks, when it comes to all this type of stuff, this all falls together with, the law of correspondence of that everything you do, everything that happens is reflected within the spiritual plane. So whatever is going to happen is what we're going to receive. So, in the
Yeah.
spirit. So, I don't think singing is that bad. I've looked into quite a bit, and they're not that bad. I should worship Satan. There's different beliefs to it. I'm not going to, discriminate anybody that
No.
is a Satanist or anything like that. That's not who I am. I'm not someone to do that. It's just that there's some people that do these certain practices based off what information they're given, and they will actually do these things. I am not someone that really works with demons. I actually study demons. So that's what I do. Some others may think differently than me, but I'm not someone to discriminate that. So, uh, you know, everybody's going to be entitled for their beliefs, but I'm definitely not going to discriminate that. That's not what I do. So, but all I know is based off the information that I do know, and research that I do know, and I'm just here to share it. So, now as far as the devices, you have an SLS spirit box.
SLS, Sweet Box, and I have Laser Grid.
Oh, you got a laser grid. Yeah, I got one of those too. Those
Yeah.
things work good.
Got torches. This here is my camera recorder. Sony Handycam, night vision.
Yep.
Got motion sensor.
Oh, nice. You got that one. I've
But
seen those.
this is not, we don't really use it as much because it's high pitch. It hurts your ears. It's like, the alarm tone. But I got the REM bear as well, but it's upstairs. I got this one here.
Oh, you got the REM pod. Those ones are probably one of the most important devices to have on an
Yeah,
invest.
yeah, they're the best. And the EVP recorders too. Got them as well. These
Uh,
ones.
oh yeah, those are
But this one
important.
here doesn't work. It's not working properly. So this one
Oh
here.
yeah, yep.
Yeah. Sony ones are good. They're brilliant. Because Panasonic is so ridiculous price. They're expensive. It's just EVP
No,
recording
right?
stuff. They got good with everything.
They're
And
extremely
cat
expensive.
balls, you know. Yeah, cat balls too.
So I got some
And
that
beats as
that.
well.
Oh yeah, I haven't got any of those yet. Do they work well?
Yeah, they work pretty good. Yeah. I
Okay.
might buy. I'll buy some. I'll send some over to you if you want. I'll send some over.
Oh, awesome. Yeah,
I'll send you the spray over as well in the cat balls. I'll buy some and I'll send you the spray over too.
yeah, I've seen them like all over the internet, but I've never you
And always
know,
remember, because if you have it on the surface, do not have it on any normal surface because it might get off. They might go off automatically. So
oh,
you could have a Coca-Cola lid or something, have it underneath, and then
okay.
there'll be nothing interfering. But like the wind won't blow it or anything.
Yeah, so they're very sensitive. So I got
Yeah.
someone that said I found when I
Thank
studied
you.
demonology, that's when I got attacked. So that's another thing is the dangers of studying demonology. It can be dangerous if you're not in the right state of mind studying demonology. Uh, when you study demonology, I've found some people that can get very obsessed with demonology too. And the obsessed part of demonology is part of the attachment to demonology. To whatever information that you're getting out of there, you're actually invoking what you're reading. And that's the spiritual understanding of studying demonology. Jumping into demonology, I definitely wouldn't recommend to jump into that like so quickly because it can be very dangerous. Don't feed demons, they feed on negative energy and acceptance. Exactly. Uh, Personally, I like to work with the more malevolent spirits than the good ones, purely to be different and see what they have to say. You know, about that, uh, a lot of entities that I have invoked during an investigation were malevolent spirits because usually those spirits are always going to try to be the more dominant speakers in the investigation.
That's it. Yeah, they do tend to do that.
It's because they like that attention. I'm not going to say all of them are going to be like that because most negative entities won't want to reveal who they really are. So they're going to invoke back, but they're not going to give you all the answers right off the back of who they are because they do
That's
not
right.
want.
Yeah, they don't always give you answers. No.
Because when you know who they really are, then you actually have a lot more dominion over them. Just like
Yeah,
the entity Cam, I got a real, genuine name that you would only be able to find in the study of demonology. This is not a very common ancient demon. So, and this demon that's in Cam also is a chief over 1,000 spirits. So it commands over 1,000 spirits. So there's not just the demon in there. There's also all these other entities that are just coming in and out of this doll that are in 1,000. You know, they're a huge bunch. There could be more vast than that. There
they
could
could
be
be
all.
attracted to it. You know, attracted to the doll. They'd be attracted, so they'd rather, you know, and take
Yeah,
over.
yeah, because what the the chief spirit, the chief entity that's in this object is also corresponded to a lot of other things. There's ranks, you know, when it comes to demonology, you start to learn that these demons, these devils, there's actually a ranking system. There's chiefs, there's kings, you know, there's chief
Queens as
and
well. There's queens too, and stuff like that
queens
as well.
like that command certain uh, like origins, like some of them command the east, some of them command the west. There's different levels, and some of them correspond to different planets. Been to the Sally House. I've never been to the Sally House, but I always wanted to go to the Sally House. I would freaking love to investigate that place. Um, One place taking I do plan on taking this doll right here, Giggles, somewhere.
Oh, that'll be good to take. Yeah, he'd be good to take with you. Mm.
I was thinking, I had some ideas, but I don't want to disclose them really yet of where I was going to take Giggles, but I do have some interesting plans of where I'm going to bring Giggles. Everybody already knows that where I took Pam. I took Pam to Dyer Lane, and I slowly released little chunks here and there of stuff from Dyer Lane, and
Mm.
I come I start to collaborate a full episode series documentary that I have for Dyer Lane to start that off. So, but everything else I've been working on short films to kind of get people in the interest and building a knowledge system for people to get an understanding before they really start watching a lot of the more intense invoking processes that we've gone through. So that way people would be a little bit more prepared and understanding what they're viewing rather than just jumping into it. And knowing how this so a lot of people now I respect entertainers because I do love I'm a horror movie fanatic. I do my stuff genuinely and very amateur like, but then there's people that do it for more entertainment purposes, but then they do their stuff very genuine. The knowledge is there, but then they put on some entertainment to it, so they kind of push the entertainment to it, right? So the part that I do, like, as far as entertainment wise, and I'm going to be completely open to this, is just basically throwing in a creepy atmosphere based off my personality. So I'm going to throw my personality in there. So I'm going to have, of course, some creepy music in there and stuff. But when
Yeah,
it
I've
comes
seen
to
those
like
parts. So very
real,
good idea. It's very good. Mm.
yeah. So when it
It's a very
comes
good
to the
idea. I
real,
like how you do your videos. I like how you exactly how you put them and how you word them all in. It's very, very good. I really like that.
right. So
Mm.
I stay as far from being an entertainer.
Yeah, I know what
Uh,
you mean. Yeah.
as
Mm.
much as I like, to watch, horror movies and stuff. I love horror movies, but that's not what my passion in the paranormal is. I wouldn't want to really
Yeah.
put myself in
I
danger.
mean, yeah, I'm
Or
like the same as well myself. It's like I don't want to find my YouTube videos. I wouldn't be lost in anything either. I'd rather just have a straight out there, go back on the videos, and listen back what it says and put the words in. And yeah,
yeah.
if I hear
So
listen carefully and just listen. Mm.
yeah. So when it comes to my investigations, I really put as much delicate, good intention into everything I'm doing because if you're investigating out there for the wrong reasons, it could make a really bad toxic effect on you.
And it's
Um,
something to follow you back home, and you don't want to, but they follow you.
yeah. So like, if you go out on investigation, yeah, it's good to laugh. It's good to smile. I'm not saying be super serious and be bored as shit, but um, what I'm saying is that when you're out there and you're kind of uh, basically just like just spitting on their grounds with all sorts of vulgar like joking and you're this type of humor, this type of stuff, the spirits out there will react, and
Yeah. Mm.
generally you do stuff like that, they're not going to be very pleased about that. Most spirits are very
They
sure
won't.
happy if you are spurting out all sorts of bad jokes that like vulgar jokes that would really upset them, and they're going to react. And when they react, uh, they're the real fear won't be on the investigation. The real fear will be in your own home where you sleep.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it'll be because they can just follow you like a magnet, and
Yeah,
that's it. You're stuck with it, and you're not trying to think of a way of getting it out.
yeah. We definitely will be collaborating soon. Someone was asking if we'll be
Yeah,
collaborating.
we will. Yeah, we'll collaborate in
Yeah,
the future again. Yeah, sometime
uh,
maybe next week again, next weekend.
yeah. We'll definitely plan.
If you're not busy. Hmm.
And actually, I'm going back out to Dyer Lane tomorrow with some team members and try to get some more answers out there. So we're going back out for another go. So
Yeah.
definitely hoping for the best out there tomorrow. So this time, I'm not bringing any haunted objects. I'm not bringing Pam. I'm doing strictly Dyer Lane because Pam is so powerfully like uh, the invoking when you are invoking anything and Pam is in the area, Pam is going to try to dominate the invocation of what's going on.
Yeah.
So,
Hmm.
because there's a lot of times where I know I invoked Pam not intentionally, but because Pam's powerful enough to forcefully punch through and get in when that object was not even ready to be brought out. She was
Hmm.
put in a suitcase, but this doesn't mean that an entity is bound to an entity like that is powerful, that is ancient, is never bound all the time in an object. They could choose to go when they want, when they leave the object. So so you could basically go somewhere without Pam the doll and go invoke Pam, whatever's in Pam. I'm not gonna release the name right now because I'm not ready to, but you could invoke that entity somewhere else and
Hmm.
or call out whatever is in Pam and actually end up communicating with that doll without that doll actually being present. You could do this with just about any real, genuine, haunted or possessed object in the world. You could
Yeah.
actually call it out and actually uh, these things could happen, and it's very dangerous. I don't recommend it because when you're dealing with iconic negative entities that have potential ways to they could cause you to go blind. I mean, the entities in Pam, I think that was a warning sign. It was showing its power, and because this was the beginning process of opening an investigation with Pam, so Pam was showing its power to me. I was being presented with it, and I think that was its way of what it was telling me what it could do. It already cut 2 rosaries that I had. I had 2 custom-made rosaries made from black onyx, smoky quartz, and all sorts of crystals. Both of them were cut. One was threaded with double thread. The other one was threaded with wire, with metal wire. Both were cut. That's how powerful this entity is. So I strongly don't recommend anybody trying to welcome Pam. I've been seeing face appear 3 times by the cross. I'll try and get a picture. Yeah, if you can. I wouldn't be surprised because I've
Yeah.
caught a
You're
lot of
filmmaking,
face.
that's right. Oh, I remember that I was about to tell you something there. That's right.
Mhm.
When you go on your investigations, right?
Yeah.
What's like one of the best EVP you ever captured? Like one of the best ones. Like, even this will be on video though, but what's the best one you ever captured?
Oh, I think that like the clearest one. Um, so the the interesting one, the most interesting, intriguing evidence of EVP that I've ever caught in. Uh, I don't want to disclose the evidence because I want people to actually hear it, but I will say how clear it was and make an example of it. So it's I was training someone, and this process was actually supposed to be a meeting that I brought an object that I thought was haunted because I got some interesting mysterious spikes off of it. So I wanted to bring this to use to experiment with at the meeting, not an investigation. However, the meeting became an investigation because of how much activity that was happening in the room. So we had to get the cameras rolling and start the investigation immediately. And the the EVP that was captured, it was captured through the audio was captured through my cameras because I didn't have an EVP running yet at that time.
Oh,
But I
that's actually interesting. That.
yeah, so luckily the cameras got it. And what's what's really baffling is so it's through the spirit box. The spirit box, and like I know you understand how the spirit box work with
Yeah.
the radio signals, where it's
Yeah. White noise and
so
then speech
it's sweeping through
and then forward pull.
radio
Yeah.
frequencies, all these radio frequencies, and when something speaks, it should immediately cut the word off if it's radio contamination.
Mm-hmm.
So it should be like, it should say like hardly anything. And I got what was, let's see, so 4 word sentence out of this. It said a word, boom, 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 4 words. And for 4 words to come in through, it would take, the rate of speed was a little slow because I didn't have it going all the way, but it still was like, which is still too fast for even any further than, it would have to be one short word, really short word with one syllable to get in there. And the next word that comes in is the same voice tone, and it's continuing a perfect sentence that makes sense. So
Yeah,
how
it
is
does
this
make sense.
possible? It literally worded a whole sentence, one voice, through several radio frequencies. It doesn't make sense. This is what causes it to be unexplained and something that we had to study and find out what was going on. And then after all the research that we've had with this object, and we start to kind of understand that there are certain voices that it likes to use. So I've identified 2 voices that are commonly used for one of these objects. And it gets kind of eerie when
Oh, sorry, you been saying about your doll in the box set, the gothic one.
when you're getting 2 different sounding voices, 2 different genders, a male and a female, coming from one object. It's a little disturbing. Earthbound
Mm.
spirit using multiple different voices. So it
That's
tells
gonna be
you that.
annoying.
Yeah. So and one of the female voice that Pam uses is she usually has it's kind of like a very mild British accent, but
Mm-hmm.
she doesn't use it so like you could hear it though. There's a British tone to it, but she likes to use that. She has this very pretty like British accent. She tries to resemble an
Yeah.
innocent. This is total manipulation. What they'll try to do. They do this at their advantage, and then all of a sudden there's this male voice that's in there, and it's just so dark. Like some of the stuff that when it comes to entities manipulating, demons are demons are the ones that are going to do it. They're going to they're going to say a lot of stuff that's going to really twist lies with the truth. And that's how they get into your head. Once they get into your head, then they'll start exposing who you are and actually use that to gain fear in you and your advantage, because then they'll learn your most inner secrets that people don't want, that you wouldn't want people to know because they're personal to you. But
Yeah.
highly negative entities, they could get into your head and start using that against you, and people actually go mad by that.
And it messes with the mind. It's like sometimes it's like when I walk in the house, sometimes I think I hear someone talking, and I say, "Did you just speak there?" She goes, "No, I didn't say anything." She's upstairs and I'm downstairs. It's like, oh, so there's obviously a ghost mimicking her voice, which is annoying.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yep. Um, what's this? I got to look back at these comments. Let's see. That all in the case I'm getting Sylvia. Oh, interesting. Sylvia out of this one. Oh yeah, look at Angela named Celia. Interesting. Okay. Well, that's interesting to know live. I may actually use that to in the future and try to see what answers I could get off that. Thank you for that. Oh wow, I may have missed that, but yeah, thank you for that, Other Worlds. That's gonna be very helpful. I really
Yeah, Jean is
appreciate.
very good what she knows. She does tend to read in things, and she doesn't look it up on the internet. She doesn't do that. She knows a lot,
Oh
which is good.
yeah, and here's another thing: is even earthbound spirits can be very
Yeah. Hmm.
defensive of their vessel. So where their vessel, then they could actually react very violently or very vengefully because they're very defensive of their home. If you do not take care of an object, there could be consequences. You should
Hmm.
get response by saying Oxford. Oh, interesting. Thank you for that. I'll remember that. Thank you for that. Yeah, so they aren't necessarily bad, but they're trapped, and some of these earthbound spirits could actually be controlled by something else too that influences them, like a parasite that'll
Hmm.
actually influence them to actually be more malevolent than they when they should be normally innocent. And a lot of this could happen basically being trapped or bound by a demonic spirit, uh, based off what type of
Yeah.
trap emotions that they are trapped there with. And these negative entities will use that at their advantage and use that to um, kind of puppet the individual that is trapped there. And actually, one
Hmm.
good example is have you seen the Conjuring films?
Yes.
So, like The Conjuring 2, the old one,
Yeah,
that's
I've
a good
seen them. Yeah, they're
right there.
brilliant. They're very good. Based
The
on true stories by Ed and Lorraine Warren.
Yeah, the old man ghost that sits in the chair, that
Yeah.
actually uh, a nice spirit that was trapped there, but he was being puppeted by something else.
Like
That was,
demonic, telling him to do bad things. And yeah.
yeah. So it wasn't really him that was actually causing all that darkness, all the dark activity. It was something else that was using him to manipulate what was being generated negative over there. So, And I believe that this happened with some of the earthbound spirits that are trapped in objects, is that they're being bound in, well, not all the time, but sometimes will be bound by something really negative.
So I got goosebumps in my head and my arms are standing up, my hair's already standing up on my arms.
I see it.
There's a ghost in the kitchen.
Yeah. Oh, another thing that's interesting when you brought up your arm hairs raising, is my arm hairs were up for 2 weeks. Swear, my arm hairs did not go down for 2 weeks.
The guy wasn't a bad guy, he caused activity. This is the demon that's trying to use him as a puppet.
So can I ask how you block yourself from communication? Sorry, I just hear you very much a light worker, but won't do it. Well, um, so blocking for communication. So, well, I'm still growing that intuition. I haven't fully understood how to, what's the word I'm looking for? How to really understand what's going on yet in a medium or light worker's perspective. I am still someone that is growing psychically over time, and I know my psychic growth is growing. And like I said, I'm not saying I'm unique here, but I know that I'm building some type of intuition that I've never understood, never knew that I had within me over all these years. But now that I got in the paranormal field just last year, I've studied this stuff since I was 12, but never understood intuition or how that works until in the recent year. And when it grew, it grew fast. So everything's coming to me really quickly.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm taking everything in at a grain of salt at a time, so that way I'm not overwhelming myself. Don't take things in from abandoned places. You never know what you're bringing back with you. Yeah, be careful doing that. You'll get more than what you're bargained for sometimes.
Yeah, it's like if you do it in the back building, your site class is stealing from a ghost, which that was their items, their belongings. Of course, they'll be angry back with this, with my stuff, I want it back, and they follow you to get it back and try.
Yeah.
Mm.
There's also objects that aren't necessarily haunted, but they have residual energy attached to it. And this could be caused from someone that maybe they they really loved something that had passion for, but then passed away, and that hobby that they were working on. So there's residual energy that they have basically that's surrounding that object, and that residual energy could eventually, it could die off. It's not necessarily that the spirit's there, but the residual energy that the emotions that they put into that hobby or whatever that they were working on still surrounds that object. So, but that their ghost body, their ghost selves, their souls aren't really in the object.
Outside the country, I've seen The Nun. That was based on a true story as well about the nun. I've seen that.
Yeah.
That was good.
Yeah, that one was a good story. The Warrens definitely have a really huge pack of knowledge that if anybody's really into wanting to get into demonology, getting in that level, I would seek out knowledge from some of their cases, look into that, like read their books, and if you are interested in getting into demonology, definitely uh, make sure you
Mhm.
actually get a more spiritual understanding of how, especially when it comes to law of correspondence, what I was talking about earlier. That's a
Yeah.
huge like to really understand before you get into any type of study like that.
Yeah, because reading books about it, because we're going to get some more books off eBay and Amazon and see if they got any books about demology. So, because my girlfriend likes to know about the demology side of things and the pictures of the demons and the symbols, symbols of demology. So you trap the demon inside it and, you could defeat it.
Yeah, and
Yeah, things like that.
oh yeah. So some of the photographs, like some of the recent ones that I posted, are clearly not human, but they do look like extraterrestrial spirits. And I think you know what I'm talking about, Ryan. That one that has
Yeah.
the big
Yeah.
eyes, the elongated head, and it's
The
gray.
alien. Hmm.
There's also another one on the bottom left of the picture with big bulgy eyes,
Yeah.
almost praying mantis type looking eye structure. Um,
Hmm. It's a good picture that you drew. You did a very good job of that.
yeah,
Like you,
this
you could
these
draw
look
things. If you remember something from your dream, you could draw it. Or if you see something in front of you, you've got to get your paper and remember it. You had the image and just start drawing it.
yeah, and that's what I actually started doing too, is doing memory sketches and going
Hmm.
based off my memory and sketching my memory. And there's one drawing that I did. The only time I've ever posted this was during my first announcement trailer for Dead Serious Investigations last year, and I the sketch that I posted that pops up on that screen during that trailer. Sorry, I sketched this demon without looking at the paper the whole time. And I did this in front of my fiance, and I was basically looking at her and sketching this and telling her
Yeah.
everything that I
Hmm.
saw and what I was experiencing as I was sketching this. And
Yeah.
then I looked at the paper when I was done sketching, and
Hmm.
like we were blown away with what I sketched out.
Like Gavin
And
just said there, your artwork is brilliant.
so, and all
Yeah.
those sketches I did were just based off my memory, and the sketches themselves bring out a type of energy that can be dangerous to kind of really handle because these there's a lot of memory, emotion, and a lot of from a lot of traumatic events that occurred
Hmm.
when I experienced those. I put all that memory in to get the most vivid image that I can to draw these things out. And that energy is in the fibers of these papers. And I've actually gotten readings from the Ovilus device, just sticking the Ovilus device to the entities I sketched out, and actually got readings like
Oh
words
yeah,
of
that's right.
all.
With the Ovilus, you know the Ovilus 3. And the obelisk has been very well known because when the ghost goes near it, the obelisk picks up its energy. And that's what, when they're working through, that's what the ghost is actually saying through the ghost is actually saying that. And it's not kicking off or anything because it's all getting correct because it's reading the ghost's energy from the electromagnetic fields. And it picks up straight away and it's picking up all their energies. And that's what I like about the obelisks. But it's hard to get hold of them these days. They're trying to get one like the obelisk 3, but they're like always unavailable. It's like
Yeah,
hard to
the only
find.
yeah the Ovilus I got the Ovilus 5, and I got the latest version of it. And what's what's crazy about this Ovilus is how well it works. It almost like when I first got it, I was because I saw it on Ghost Adventures is where I first saw. You
Hang
heard
on.
something?
I just heard someone say my name right beside me, and no one's in the kitchen. Look, no one's in the kitchen. I just heard my name. Said Ryan, like that when you were talking. It's like right over here. You said my
Yeah,
name, and the female boy's like Ryan.
yeah, Jeez.
I said that. I'm getting goosebumps
Yeah.
now as well from
So, um, freak.
Hello, guys.
I have to. I'm gonna have to look back at this. I'm gonna have to share this to you so you can post this on yours too. Um,
Yeah.
so Yeah,
Wait, I'm just going to talk. Wait, I'll put my microphone on mute. I'm just going to toilet quickly.
gosh. Oh my god. That's freaky. Let's see these messages. Where does the images come from? Just my memory. So I really put a lot into my memory, going as far back and as deep as I could remember of, and just remembering the trauma from it, remembering how the atmosphere was, and basically kind of bringing myself back in that event and then sketching it out as I'm thinking of all that. And then this picture emerges, and that's where I'm saying that there's a lot of energy in them. Welcome back, Ryan. I was just telling them about explaining them more about the sketch.
Hmm. Yeah, that's all right. Yeah, it was amazing. The ghost just said my name. I was like, Ryan.
Yeah, that's
It's
bizarre.
interesting. It's like I never heard it. Like it was like in the middle of the room, but it didn't really sound as loud. It sounded like a faint, but like a female. How do you explain it? Like a female. You know, like the female voice, like a little like a slight vibration to the female voice, and then a little kind of bass, like someone speaks from the body, like that.
Oh,
That's what it
really?
sounded like. Yeah,
Now, did it sound like a familiar voice?
it sounded like a person about in their say 30s.
Yeah,
Hmm.
interesting. Now I wonder if when I look back at this live, if what else we may like capture in there, because it wouldn't be surprised if the audio on this mic on my phone catches some stuff, and the mic
Yeah,
on
I'm using my phone
your
as
phone,
well. Yeah. If we did capture it, if it did, it'd be brilliant.
that'd be cool.
That'd be amazing.
Now another thing I want to tell people is when you're out investigating, is I know it's very hard. It's very hard for me because I get super excited investigating, but try to do as less talking during the investigation as you can, if you can, because the talking does contaminate the EVP capture. I have faced
Mhm.
this a lot of times, and it's frustrating because they'll do it. Almost seems like they do this on purpose to make it
They
harder for you
do.
to hear what they're saying. Because I'm like, out of all the time that we're standing there in the the dead darkness, like, there's no voice. But then as soon as someone says something, all of a sudden a voice comes out, like trying to talk over them. And it's like,
Yeah, it's like ghosts. They can read your mind as well. You know, they can read your mind.
yeah. So that's a good theory right there. I do think that that's definitely. What are both your thoughts on Necrophonic app?
Nah,
Who
no,
I don't
not, that's not for me.
I don't
It's
recommend.
just word banks. That's all. It's just word banks to me. And nothing
Yeah.
makes sense.
I tried it before just to see what this was all about, what was going on, because Necrophonic was everywhere, and I was like, "What is this app? What the hell are people doing?" So I downloaded the app just to see what the heck this was,
Same
and
here.
it was. I was very disappointed the first 5 minutes, like, of what this thing was. I felt like this was definitely designed for entertainment. This was a prime example of entertainment.
Yeah. So you just get your friends for a laugh. That's what the apps are for. Just get your friends on Halloween or have a laugh. But they shouldn't
Yeah,
be doing the real thing in your house more aggressive, which they don't understand the real side of it. It's like a Ouija board, they say it's not a game. Or they say it is a
right.
game, but it isn't a game, it's the real thing.
Yeah,
Hmm.
and that's why, the equipment. that are actually provided for real paranormal investigating, the reason why it's it costs a lot more is because they're actually built correctly for as a metaphysical device. Now, cell phones aren't designed that way. They don't have
And all of
certain
just something that's handmade, made by a person. Mhm.
right. You know,
Yeah.
they require those
So,
certain things, certain magnets, and all that type of stuff. So, um,
I got an Ian pump as well.
yeah,
Yeah, I
and
got it here, I'll show you. But it does work a little bit, but it's good. That's
oh yeah,
it
it
gives the
has.
ghosts more energy to communicate. It's good for spiritual communication.
That's an EM pump, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that will generate some electromagnetic field for them to actually make it for them to. I have one of those. I have a fancier one. Yours is
Yeah.
a lot
They're
more
pretty
than mine.
good though. They're pretty good. But somebody actually
Mine,
said they felt like using it. Somebody said they felt sick because it
yeah,
affected some people. You know, if people feel those problems, you don't buy one.
yeah,
So people
and
want
I
to put
always
on the
tell
feel you can't handle them, do not buy them. Just
yeah,
think of something different again, like a motion sensor.
I've always tell people that when don't hold the EM pump too long in your hands because it actually make you feel nauseous because it's
It's like
generating.
you're like a sanding machine.
Yeah, and actually you hold it long enough, you can actually make yourself sick from that radiation from it.
Mhm.
It's like being next to a microwave for too long.
Yeah.
So because that electromagnetic radiation. So um, well, Brian, is there anything you want to talk about to wrap this up? Because I didn't realize that it's already 4:25 over here.
Over here it's nearly half 12.
Oh,
So
is there any
yeah.
other questions?
The question I'd like to ask is, that's right. You know the picture that my girlfriend said to you of the face on the TV, the face and the video.
Yeah, the
Right. What
the
do you think that could be? What do you think that could be? The face that you
the
saw
video that
the
on that
yeah.
under.
Mhm.
So um, the that face, I remember it had that long kind of.
Mhm. Yeah.
Other world said biscuits and gravy mean anything. That's that's odd. Not
But the
really.
ghost of the face. Yeah.
But the face was very long.
And
And,
a bit like a skull type thing with horns or something like
yeah, it was very bizarre. It didn't look anything human though. That it looked really the way the face looked. It looked really bizarre. It did not look anything human. If
So
it's
what
some,
type of force, what type of entity do you think it was? What type of entity do you think it could be?
it could be a number of things. That's the problem. It really comes down to the fact of what you feel in your home, like like what type of sense you're picking up. What
Sometimes like evilness, sometimes a bit dark the other time.
mhm. Yeah, because me, I'm not really a medium or anything, but I do have highly sensitive energy to the environment when I'm there, like in person. But I as far as like what it is, it definitely looked. So what it looked like when it was in motion, because you guys sent me one in motion and you
Mhm.
got me a still shot. The one in motion, when it's in motion, it almost looks like an ectoplasmic mist, the way it materialized like that.
Yeah,
Because it was trying to materialize in our reality, and that's where that ectoplasmic mist is formed. But the face, it residued a face before it went away. In that face, it looks, it just looks like something that doesn't resemble human to me. And
More
but I
like a
can't.
demon.
Yeah, it looks like something that only existed in human or in spirit form. And is this thing bad? It could be, or it could be something that is something that is beyond our understanding. That is more of just in more of a curiosity type state, where it's just observing of what's going on. But I wouldn't open up to it, and
No.
definitely keep maintaining protection in your home on a
Yeah.
weekly to daily basis, depending on what type of energy you feel like you brought home. Um, and I have to do that quite often here because of the objects that are here. But I do keep them bound under, some of them are under altars, or on top of altars, sorry, and some of them are glassed up.
Yeah, because I got my white witchcraft altar because I'm a white witch myself, which I got my altars like my pentagram altar, and I got my incense sticks, sage, black salt. I got all those things.
Yeah, I have someone here that just said sounds almost elemental. That's kind of a good theory right there. Is that that's a possibility. Who are my favorite paranormal investigators?
I got
Oh,
favorites.
um, well, as far as it goes with I guess if you're talking mainstream, I guess Ghost Adventures is probably the most genuine.
Same here.
Par- Probably the most genuine paranormal
Sam
investigators.
Biggins is the best. Sam Biggins is amazing. And
Yeah,
this stuff
they're
is real. He doesn't fake anything. It's all legit real, and
yeah
that's it.
the knowledge is there, and that's the huge key in that. And a lot of paranormal investigators that I've watched on mainstream television, they're they had that lack of knowledge in it. They just were strictly paranormal investigating, just trying to debunk it as much as possible. Like, oh, it's a pipe. And I get that, but you also have to have the knowledge in it of what you're invoking when you're out there investigating, because then you're investing, you're finding evidence, but you don't know what the heck the mysteries of what you just captured. And Ghost Adventures,
Yeah.
they actually seek out history. They have the knowledge of the demonology, the occult. They have a little bit of everything in there. And then you got that perfect balance in there to investigate. And
Yeah.
that's the thing that I do respect about them, is that they do have that perfect balance of knowledge mixed in with investigating. And that's the proper way to do it.
And they show respect to people as well who passed away. They show respect to them, and they show respect to the families that are
Yeah.
alive. They show respect. And, like house
Yeah.
calls, they show respect to that Biggins his way. Because the reason why he's not there because he doesn't want to fly at them because the lightning bolt hit the plane. That's why he doesn't really want to travel at the moment
Yeah.
until his foot goes away. And he'll go back
Yeah.
on his plans.
Yeah, I was seriously impressed. That they really they hold their series down with a good reputation and very genuine. Um, so if anybody is interested in watching anything paranormal investigator wise, as far as mainstream goes on TV, Ghost Adventures is probably the only thing I really recommend. I'm not sure about all the others, but anything else that I've watched, that I've seen a lot of things that I questioned a lot. But Ghost Adventures, they're very genuine. I have Demon House is good.
That's where
Um,
that Biggins house was that he used to live in. That's right. That's what
yeah,
affected his eyesight. Like yours, and he got affected as well by the same, but the ghost popping in your eye at the stage.
you know what?
That's
That's what kind of disturbed me when that happened with my eyes. Is I thought about what happened to Zach, and that is it possible that this object is threatening me, saying that I could do the same to you? Because these entities, if they have some type of tie to my attachments from my childhood, that means they know a lot about me. They know what I watched. They know all that stuff. So they know that, I've witnessed someone on TV that had suffered something with their eyes because of some entities. What if what's in Pam is thinking, well, I could use that on you because that kind of disturbed you knowing the fact that you saw someone that suffered that consequence. Well, I could
They
do
try to
that
say
on
like the sage is not defeating. Said, well, that's not defeating anyway. That's going to do nothing to me. So
you.
you have to use something different to think without me knowing. Before I read your mind, and I'll try and do something different. You have to be very
Yeah,
think fast. It's very difficult because ghosts can actually trick you into different things. Like play mind games with your eyes and play mind games with you to hear the different voice and nothing I can explain. They can do that as well, like manipulation,
yeah, they
which
trick
is
you
very
into
annoying.
yeah, they like to trick you into thinking that the wrong thing was what you were supposed to think, or that that's where twisting lies with the truth comes in, where they try to, like you were saying, manipulate you, you know. So,
Yeah.
and like another thing is like insects and pests. Uh, a lot of cases involve this with demons is that they'll manifest like spiders or something because someone has a deep fear of spiders, so they'll start manifesting spiders. And
And then you see one on the floor, it's calling the floor out of the blue. What's this thing here? How did I get in? It's like they had to go and
so,
kill a spider.
like, have you ever had a moment where you're laying in bed and you see a spider on your crawling on you or dropping towards you? You turn the light on, you get
No,
out of bed, you never
nothing
find the
is
spider
detailed.
up. The spider's gone, just magically gone. It never existed.
Yeah, just the
This I
mosquitoes.
this
They're
and a lot
annoying.
I believe that these pests or bugs that are I'm not going to say that all bugs are pests because there are a lot of bugs are here for their certain
Good
reasons on
reason.
Earth.
Like
But
bumblebees, they're good for honey.
yeah, exactly. So but I believe that when someone is really traumatized to see a certain type of bug, demons will know that and then they'll actually manifest that. So the likelihood of someone's house being infested by black widow spiders, but then all the other neighbors around the neighborhood do not have that problem, but only one house does. Now, this is very strange because this is something that happened to me in my childhood house. Our house was infested with black widows inside and out. They were inside the
From
house.
demon.
Yeah.
Blimey.
So this is signs of demonic infestation, not just spider infestation. This is something that demons will also do. They know that certain people have a fear tendency to things, and they'll use it against them. And that big one is in my lounge. I don't know where it's going. Oh no.
There is a big one in the lounge, there is. It must be underneath the sofa.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to be careful with those because whew, yeah, my brother almost died from a black widow. He got bit 3 times at once, and then
Oh,
it's to the hospital. Yeah, he brought it in bed with him by accident, and he was talking on the phone and walking around some logs on the side of the house, and came in the house, went to bed, and I guess he dragged a black widow from outside and brought it in bed. He woke up white as a ghost and shaking and stuff and sweating a lot and sent him to the hospital. If we didn't send him to the hospital, he would have a heart attack. And the
oh no,
doctor
that's
called
not good.
and said, look under his pillow for a spider or something because they're seeing bites on his bicep. And look under his pillow, there's a smashed giant black widow under his pillow.
So he killed it.
Yeah, he literally squashed it to death with his arm or something. And that's
And that's
why
who
it did
oh,
it.
it
So it put
Ooh.
all of the venom into him, like so he got a huge dosage.
It's only got the spider.
Yeah.
But they can bite too, but then they need bubble bites, that's the thing. But I always get bitten by spiders in the garden, so when I'm upstairs, I don't know how I get bitten. But they must like it because of sweetness, but it must taste sweet. And they go for the scent of sweetest smell. And I think, why not go to a catch a tomato garden or something, go down there to strawberry farm or something and eat
that. Oh man. So you end up getting bit by those things when you're out in the garden?
Yeah, I've been bit by spiders before, and I've seen some poisonous ones in the garden, so I get stoned and kill them. I have fun killing all the all the poison spiders, because there is some, the ones, the red ones that look like they're like scorpions, but they're small and red, and they're red back to them.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
I killed them. We get them over here, and I killed a few of them. And there's none of them now. They're gone.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sleeping now. Thanks. uh. You need to be bitten before you become Spider-Man. Yeah.
Well, we should.
Right.
We should be. If you all be Spider-Man.
Yeah. Ryan would have became Spider-Man several times by now.
Yeah, it's like the ghosts. Like I've never heard about this. Been people talking about a ghost like releasing like about. Apparently, there's been ghosts releasing those, what do you call them, like crabs or lobsters. They release these things on the ground. You see them crawling around the place like lobster things. Or heard about that? They have lobster manifestations on the floor. And,
yeah.
like the one possession, like flies. So if you get those flies, that's like a possession. Something like wants to take over your body, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I know that's true. It does happen to people.
And that, what you were talking about, flies and stuff, is certain type of devils and demons like to take a manifestation of insects, like I was talking about too. And with flies in play, we're talking like entities like Beelzebub.
Beelzebub. Yeah.
Is known to manifest or show himself as a giant fly or a and in some cases, and some people that have been victimized by some of these types of devil entities have told me that they've experienced seeing a mass of flies or what looked like bees in a hive buzzing in front of them. And then they would say the next thing they knew before they could react, all of these bugs flew into their mouth and what felt like sharp metal cutting through their gums and scratching their throat. And
that's the one feeling,
yeah, and having feeling for hours and hours. So this is what I would say is someone that is suffering from. This is far more than just demonic or devil attachment. This is possession. This person has experienced stuff like this more than once. They've experienced all sorts of negative thoughts that they normally wouldn't feel. Very brutal experiences. And I've talked to people that have suffered from this type of stuff that is very bothering here. But that's why the knowledge of what I do is very important, and also reaching out to people that are above what I know, like spiritual mediums that I could go to for advice or actually get help for them to deal with the problem better. Because some of these
it's like I've seen what's the guy's name who goes on to live sometimes on YouTube? What's his name? Well, he sits beside you sometimes. He knows a lot of things too. He's very good at what he says. And
yeah. A lot of people that come to me for their troubles are usually too far for me to help them. So I try to do what I can to help without actually being there to investigate the problem, to get them what they need. So when it gets to that point, I reach out to the mediums that I know to help them out. And
which is good.
Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and close this out. My phone's about to die.
Okay.
So, Ryan, I look forward to doing another collaboration with Alive again. And,
definitely. Next weekend when you sleep, but still feel busy.
Yeah. And
you just definitely let me know.
hearing some of those EVP captures you got too. So I
Yes,
definitely
when you go back on that thing, see if you heard my name, Neo, if it did capture it. Listen
okay.
carefully. Yeah, and I'll just do some more
Yeah,
EVP recording, and I'll see if I capture more things, and I'll play it
uh,
back to you, and I'll just write it down on paper, the numbers, time frame, and then play it back, and you can listen.
awesome. Yeah, definitely.
Mhm.
All right, everybody. I really appreciate everybody's time coming on here and checking us out, and you know, having the interest in the paranormal and what we do and studies and research and all that stuff. So everybody be safe out there and don't, you know, don't get yourself in trouble with the objects behind me. Try not to welcome any of this stuff in your home. So, but yeah, uh, Reiki Master, it's good seeing you come on here. Um, and I appreciate everybody being on here. Ryan, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All
Thanks for
right.
letting me join in. Maybe next weekend we could do another collaboration.
Yeah,
So,
I'll definitely hit
yeah,
you up. I'll let you know when my days are available, and I'll definitely hit you up.
okay,
So we can. All right. Have a good night.
yeah. All right, well, you too. See ya.
See ya.
Bye.